Okay, so retro review. Also, SmackDown review coming out. I gotta find time to watch that. So, of course, I'm gonna talk about August 25th, Raw 2003. And a lot of things happened. This was just the night after SummerSlam that same year, where we had the second ever Elimination Chamber. Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle had the rematch this time. Kurt Angle was face while Lesnar was heel. And Vince McMahon played a pivotal role, like rolling over Lesnar back to a heel phase. You know, best of Brock Lesnar. Even though he's always cool as a babyface. But what you're gonna do? We also had Shane McMahon feuding still with his father, and of course with Eric Bischoff over the sexual assault of Linda McMahon. You know, a whole lot of crazy shit is happening. So after, showing over the intro of Raw, they had, of course, they showed the footage over from the Elimination Chamber. Goldberg was about to finish up the job and spear Triple H, and it ended with Triple H with a sledgehammer from Ric Flair, causing a strike to the head, ending with Triple H using the sledgehammer to pick up his first win in the Elimination Chamber. And it ends with Triple H beating, with the notorious beatdown on Goldberg, handcuffing him into the chamber, and then we start with the intro. We were in Tucson, Arizona for Monday Night Raw. And I can pull up the numbers right now, even though it doesn't really matter. It hit a 4.3, so just a bit of an increase. They haven't hit a 4.2 since July of that same year. And I don't think they would hit over 4 million for, I guess, the remainder of the year, because football season. I guess that's the reason they were averaging above a 3.7, and they wouldn't hit a 4 million until January 9th, 2006. I'm being serious. They don't hit high ratings until later in the next 3 years. Sure, they hit a 4.5 run near WrestleMania, but when it comes to be keeping it a consistent notion, Raw's averaging a 3 point something by now. So they're far away from the Attitude Era. Even around 2002, they were still hitting above 5 million. They could hit a 5.2 if they wanted to. So that opened above the show. Goldberg introed out, showing his bandaged head over where Triple H spiked him with the sledgehammer, calling out Triple H issuing a challenge for the World's Heavyweight title right there, right now. And of course, he's the heel, so he wants it at my time. But this time, he wants it at Unforgiven. And, of course, Sick calls if he loses the title, you're the man, you're the top of the business. But if he loses, if Goldberg loses, his career is on the line now. And I think, especially over that time when Goldberg has barely even spent a minute. He debuted around Backlash. I don't know why put his career on the line for something that doesn't even have a longevity and hasn't been really the most on-occurring threat next to Shawn Michaels for the World's Heavyweight title, even though there's a high possibility of Triple H beating him. So I think he just wanted him out of his hair, so he didn't even just continue wrestling. I guess that would have gave him heat. But it ends with Triple H accepting the challenge, but waiting for Unforgiven, and Goldberg having no problem with the stakes. So pretty cool thing. Goldberg looked like a badass. Decent exchange. I always I don't know why people undermine this feud other than Goldberg did win the world title later on. Looked cool. I wish he held it a bit longer, had a bit more of a winning streak. But, the disputes he was having over backstage, and of course the heat you have as being a WCW wrestler, unless you're Booker T. We open with Trish Stratus and Gail Kim. And I'm going to tell you right now, bro, WWE doesn't, this format is completely different from right now. This format's even better than what happens right now in WWE. Because Their opener was 4 minutes. And their longest match was in the main event so they can have higher focus because there's an actual story within it. So, Trish Stratus was 4.1 minutes. And the match was pretty high, I'm not going to lie. Major focus on the headlock. Gail came with a post-match assault. With a pre-match assault before Trish could even enter the ring. And she had a major momentum until there's a Trish kick, a counter over a superplex, and it ends with her finding the opportunity to finally hook up the Stratus faction. Then immediately we went into an interview with, Eric Bischoff after the match involving him getting, socked by Stone Cold and losing to Shane McMahon at SummerSlam, ending with him getting a black eye, and then immediately handing Employee of the Month to a black guy after garnering heat helping out Eric Bischoff, so Coachman gets rewarded with Employee of the Month. And we know this is going to get immediately interrupted anyway. We also had a highlight reel involving Chris Jericho and Linda McMahon later around the show, involving her interaction with Eric Bischoff weeks prior, trying to see if they went more intimate after. It was blatantly obvious that the lady literally had her hands tied behind her back while getting forcefully kissed by Eric Bischoff. If you can't tell me that's a new form of rape, then I don't know what it is. And Jericho just thinks, oh yeah, this is getting somewhere. Next we had, of course, I forgot what he calls it. It just reminds me of Frying and Buying from that Sonic for Hired bullshit that I remember. And Ronnie, Mack, and Mark Henry were a tag team. Yeah, that was a thing. Don't look up his theme before 3-6 Mafia because it's garbage. It's like some weak funk rock song from the early 2000s and it sucks ass. And they faced off against the jobbers of Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak and it ended in 2 minutes. There was blatant offense. Ronnie Mack was just shucking and jiving and acting like a dumbass. Mark Henry's the only person technically taken seriously. There was a top rope move attempted off, I think, Garrison Cade before he got caught over in midair and ended in a good 3 minutes. Near 3 minutes, actually. World's Strongest Slam. Mark Henry and Ronnie Mack won, but this tag team didn't go anywhere like it did for Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak. So, pointless match before we had La Resistance in a 6-man tag involving the debuting Rene Dupree that was in SummerSlam. That are tag team champions facing off against the Dudleys. Yeah, they're still feuding. I think this was, I don't know if this was before or after Spike Dudley broke his neck with them botching that table spot. Either way, Spike Dudley, I think Bubba was the only person to enter off the main entrance before two of them attacked from behind for a surprise attack. And this was a 6-man tag, and usually you don't see this in WWE 6-mans anymore. They just don't think they should have the easy pop, everybody get a bit of their shit in so they can actually build up to the pay-per-view to actually get probably a 10 to 15 minute match. This 6-man tag ends in 2 minutes and 46 seconds. That's even a surprise for me. I didn't expect this match to go for that short. But we had the Dudley the Dog attempted twice, barely even the finish. I think Rob Conway took a 3D, escaped the ring, double clothesline. Rob Conway, I think he chucked one of them out the ring. Powerbomb for a near fall. It ends with a lot of Resistance winning with Rene Dupree knocking out, I think, Bubba with the World Tag Titles, picking up a sneaky victory. And then we had, of course, the highlight reel with Jericho actually having abs, looking fit. I look at him now after Revolution. He actually looks a bit better than how he was several months prior, where he looked like a pregnant substitute teacher. But now back in the day, he actually had charisma. People hooked up to the words he said, and he could actually garner entertainment every time he talks. But he just wasn't a main eventer, especially over that time, even though he won the Undisputed titles under a year ago. At that point, it wasn't until WrestleMania 18 when he lost it. And it ends with Vince McMahon interrupting over Jericho, accusing Linda of assaulting, trying to think that they were getting more intimate. And then later on saying that, of course, Eric Bischoff was escorted out the premises because that's assault. Then Vince allowed that shit to happen. It's like, dude, this guy is a dick. I love Vince McMahon whenever he's just an evil prick. They came from just being the unlikable businessman, the boss that everybody wants to beat up in their job, to just being just the ultra evil prick that we all remember, dog. Like, who just allows a man to come into your home that works for you, and then force themselves on their wife, and then immediately blame via their wife for making their child later on when Shane came in, with Jericho defending Vince because he's a heel, and immediately calls him a privileged, sanctimonious son of a bitch. Like, I miss lines like that from Chris Jericho. Obviously, he'll probably say shit or something to make AEW sound edgy, but whatever. It was actually a pretty okay segment, ending with Vince McMahon after Jericho knocked Shane, giving him a gash on the side of his head. Literally, you can see it. Thankfully, he wasn't bleeding a lot. That Vince booked the match involving Jericho and Shane at our main event. Sadly, we didn't even have any more focus involving Triple H and Goldberg. I think we gotten more like after Goldberg won the match, and of course, the whole bounty thing with Goldberg and Triple H that I found pretty awesome. Randy Orton and Ric Flair on his corner face off against Maven with Shawn Michaels in his corner, and this match was pretty okay. Of course, this is teasing over the feud with Orton and Michaels because they do face off at Unforgiven, the Raw pay-per-view at that time. And this match was pretty okay. I hate that double dropkick spot, but at least they warmed out to it and didn't feel like, oh, this is like a chess match. These guys are going to warm up. And no. They were like-minded. They were both athletic. Of course, Orton always tried to find the easy ways to cruise in and get his moves like his dropkick, his backbreaker. Thankfully, no DDT. Ric Flair was about to attempt giving a sucker punch to Maven. Shawn Michaels came with a sweet chin music. And it ended with Orton hitting the RKO when Maven thought he was getting the match won after a top rope move failed. After he hit the crossbody from before. And he even mocked Shawn Michaels using the sweet chin music. So, basic match. Good thing, teasing over the opponent. I thought this was like a generic feud because, this was building over to the Legend Killer character. Literally, the last time Orton was actually a major focus in the show, and I didn't find him dull. Like, oh, you could say Orton's the GOAT. Look, he hasn't done much to really intrigue a crowd since he was, under 30. So don't think, Orton's been all-time over the GOAT. He hasn't been doing stuff interesting since 2009. Fight me. I don't care. He hasn't been doing stuff interesting since 2009. Earlier on, segmented that there was, of course, the Employee of the Month segment with Eric Bischoff with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He didn't even ban him from entering the ring. But Jonathan Coachman was rewarded Employee of the Month for being loyal to Eric Bischoff. And then it's I think there was so much race card. Of course, you don't do this a lot more on TV anyway. The same thing is with Theodore Long's character, telling the white boys, Kane and Jindrak, to come in. And now we have Jonathan Coachman accusing racism. Over was when Jim Ross told me to get out of his seat, it's get out my seat, boy. What the guys, what the fuck? Oh my god. And then immediately causing, race problems. Jerry King Lawler would defend his partner, ending in a match with Christian getting upset with Stone Cold Steve Austin after he tried to intervene, saying that he wasn't at the SummerSlam card, even though he's the Intercontinental Champion. That's mad understandable. And it ended with Stone Cold Steve Austin making a match with Christian after roasting him. Your gear, whack. Your elbow pads, whack. The Intercontinental title, whack. You son of a... So, Jerry King Lawler and Christian immediately get an IC title match that ends in like 4 minutes. After a cheap tactic off Jonathan Coachman, that was a commentary for like a hot minute, calling Jim Ross like struggerish, and Jim Ross later on being like, "I'm sorry, gentlemen, I couldn't call the match. God damn it, I failed you, people. I failed you. God damn it. Oh God, I'm getting another heart attack." Whatever. The match ends. It was like 4 minutes. God damn it, like I didn't care. Immediately, just to give like Christian, I guess, some momentum, and I know they were trying to tease over later on for Jonathan Coachman trying to take the jobs away from Jim Ross, and then later on Al Snow would fight for a commentary job because I think later on like Al Snow would be responsible for roster management or some shit like that, or because he wasn't shit on the lower card that they had to give him somewhat of an irrelevant authority figure job just to feud with the commentary. That's so awesome. Also, later on in the Trish Stratus and Gail Kim match, I forgot to bring up later on Molly Holly came to intervene. Ending with Molly Holly like forcefully asking Gail Kim to tag with her so they can take out Trish Stratus so they can get the women's title. And later on, just Gail Kim like forcefully disagrees, and it's like, wait, did Molly Holly just drag Gail Kim by the neck backstage later on after like staring at her like she was a disappointed, authoritative mother? Like dead ass. I don't get it. Chris Jericho versus Shane McMahon was our main event, so we can end the night. And, you know, we had a basic trade of blows, top rope moves, a DDT. Shane was going high risk in certain situations, but, you know, trying to close up with Jericho with heel kicks, using cheap tactics to cut off his momentum. And then later on, after, I think Jericho was taken outside of the ring, Kane, because Kane was feuding with Shane still, ending up in a quick distraction with Jericho taking over. Then as soon as Shane was about to take control, Kane comes for real this time to cause a DQ, ending in a no contest for the last like 9 minutes. And it ends with them like Shane trying to chase over Kane after the no contest backstage, with Shane getting jumped, and literally the fans really popped for a dumpster that said the city of Tucson. Like, are you guys serious? I don't get it. You guys didn't go crazy after literally this man tossed gasoline and lit a dumpster on fire and tried to toss a man through it. Shane fought out of it, of course, and then kicked him into the dumpster fire. And on Monday Night Raw like that. There wouldn't be another episode until September 1st of 2003. And that's the show. September 1st, I think it drew a 4.3, so even a million up. Yo, like, I think this was also the episode where Shane, you know, have a nice ride scene involving Kane getting hit with the lower part of the door while he was stuck over to that limousine, ending with him getting hospitalized, and then later on booking for that last man standing match at Unforgiven, where we all know where Shane fell off from the stage set. So, good stuff. One of the more entertaining feuds on Raw at the time, even though like many people in popular opinion would say that SmackDown would be the more superior show for the stuff that they were going on. In ring-wise, that means their show's better. Don't get me wrong, I love watching 2003 SmackDown as well, and hopefully I do a review on that soon. But I just don't know how you guys make your own opinions on that type of shit. I really don't. But besides that, this was an okay show. I would give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I will go back to see this just for the nostalgia factor, and plus I love Across the Nation. I'm not saying that because it's such a great song. I'm saying it because it's such a nostalgic song. I love the formatting. Not everything felt dragged to me. Everything had a, hit or miss. You didn't have to stay for that long, and they made sure that they build up to the main event to make sure that we have an exciting and well-developed ending to the show so people have something to get ready for the next episode. Something I can't say about Raw right now or for the past 10 years. That's it coming from the DST show. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be live streaming tomorrow around, I think, free agency is supposed to start around 3 p.m. So I'll be preparing for that. Hopefully, Brian will get involved. We have plenty of guests. Can't wait for you guys to come over. That's it coming from me. Thanks for watching.
Now get the cards, the charts from my generation of